So I review lots of things on this channel, except so far for a bird. Well, meet Bionic Bird. So into us from a company called XTIM is this, and I'm really excited to look at what's inside the box. About 6 years ago or so, I stumbled across a company that sold this. Now, this, I believe, is one of the very first products from this company, XTIM, and it's called the Bionic Bird. This is the vintage model, which was very basic, but still incredibly impressive. And I'll talk more about that later. But this is the new version, and there is an even newer version coming out next year. So this is the flying bird. It's the Bionic Bird. There are 3 different models, the vintage, the premium, and the deluxe, and they range in price between 39, 59 and 89 euros. So actually very cheap considering what you get. So let's look at the box. Now, first of all, beautifully presented, really nice box here with a magnetic catch on it. Would make a lovely gift for somebody. With this deluxe version, we obviously get the bird, and there it is. Now that is it just weighs nothing, absolutely nothing. We'll talk more about that shortly. We'll just quickly see what else is in the box. So here we've got this special charging egg. Now this is quite cool. Basically this allows you to charge up the bird 10 times when you're out on the move. It takes about an hour and a half to charge itself. When you plug it in, but then it gives you 10 charges of the bird, and each charge takes only 12 minutes. So that means you can fly again very, very quickly. You also get a little brush here. I'm not sure what that's for cleaning. It might be for cleaning the dirt off this sensitive little device. In here, there's a little card as well. So this card is basically so that you can download the app. There's a little QR code on the back. So scan the QR code, you can get the manual and the app via that. And then also in here, this tiny little envelope are actually some tiny little weights. Now these weigh nothing at all, but they are used to trim the model. So you attach these onto the wing tips, I believe, or somewhere, and that helps to trim the model if it's moving to the left or to the right. There's also a USB cable here with a special little adapter on the end, and that's for charging the egg, and then you use the egg to charge the model. And finally, in the front here are some spare wings. Now, as you fly these things around, you may eventually tear the wings and damage them. So it's really nice that you get a spare set of these incredibly fragile bits here. So that's what you get in the box, really neatly packaged, very nice indeed. And again, this is really cheap. So I'm impressed that it comes in at this quality. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at this awesome little bird. So once again, this is such an impressive bit of engineering. The main body area here is foam, so very, very compressed, lightweight foam. And all the internals inside there are powering the wings. So you can just about see exposed here the motor, I guess, and that is attached via these 2 hardened spines down the wings, and that's of course what ends up flapping these wings up and down. The tail component isn't actually controlled at all, so the way that this steers is on the rear here. There's a very clever little motor assembly here, and by that moving left and right, it moves the whole wing structure left and right as well. So basically the parts of the wing here steer the bird as it's flying. The tail, however, is manually set, so you can see I'm clicking that up and down. And basically, the higher you have that, the slower the bird is going to fly. So if you're flying it indoors, you're probably going to want this on its top setting, so you can see that's quite a vertical angle there, 45, 50 degrees or so. However, if you're flying outdoors and you want to go really fast, you might put this down to its lowest profile like that. The wings are made of a very, very lightweight material. They're a kind of plastic polythene kind of material, very fragile. So if you do get this caught up in a bush or something, you probably aren't going to tear that. Hence, it's good you get the spare set. And as I mentioned, there is a hard spine that goes through the front leading edge of these wings as well. And that's what allows them to flap up and down. And I think you'll be very surprised at just how powerfully these actually flap, if it's anything like the earlier model that I've got. On the side sides of the main wing here are some little cooling vents as well, so that's to keep the motor nice and cool. Obviously being enclosed in foam, that motor's probably going to get quite warm, so those cooling vents are essential. And then under here we've got the little charging array. Now what's quite nice is that this is entirely magnetic, so if we pull the charger egg in here, that literally aligns up by itself, and those magnets are incredibly powerful. I can feel them already, and it just there clicks on that easily. So that literally charges it. You turn it on by pressing the button on the bottom of the egg, which starts it glowing, and then you can see the top half starts flashing blue, so you know it's charging, and then you can just basically put it down and leave it to charge. So that's a really nice system on there. When you detach it, it obviously detects that and stops charging, and then you can turn the egg back off. Towards the rear of the bird on the underside is where I'd imagine the battery is located. Now, there are no specifications on the website around what battery is actually inside here, but it's quoted at 8 minutes flight time, which is seriously impressive. The charging, once you hook it up to this special little egg here, takes only 15 minutes, and that gives you around the 8 minutes flight time. Then just finally on top, there is a tiny little antenna here. So this one is controlled via your smartphone, and then you've got a tiny little on and off button slider here. So if we just slide that to on, we'll see the blue light illuminate there. Hopefully you can see that, and that probably means that the signal is now being emitted. So overall, really impressive. The quality of this is not perfect, but this is a cheap product and it's bundled really beautifully. The package is lovely, and this is going to be very interesting to fly. So next thing I'm going to do is get this fully charged up, get the app installed, and then we're going to flight test it. So I'm at the field with my Bionic Bird. First thing I've done is turned it on, which obviously starts it emitting its Bluetooth signal. And I've angled the tail quite high up. Now it is a bit breezy today. I have attached one of the small metallic trims that comes with it as well, because it was naturally turning to the left when I first calibrated this. So adding that trim just helps to balance it out. So on my phone now, I'm going to fire up the Bionic Bird app. Now I'm already connected to my DroningON Bird, and I've got it set on a mode so that when I tilt my phone like that, you'll notice that that actually controls the tail of the wing. It's really clever how it works. It's not very proportionate. It seems to be all or nothing, and a little bit proportional there, but I don't know, a bit of a sticky motor perhaps. I have been in touch with Bionic Bird about this, because the first time I test flew it, I'll admit, this is the first time I've ever reviewed something and actually test flown it before to try and get familiar with it. Had a few problems, and it's very unpredictable, this, and they've been very, very helpful with lots of suggestions and offering to swap it. So their customer support is brilliant. But we're going to give it a go. It is a bit breezy today, but I've been trying to test fly this for ages, and I'm yet to get a still day weather-wise, so we'll give it our best. So angling the tail up like this, remember, makes it fly slower. Angling it down makes it fly faster, but I think that's also going to depend on wind as to which is most suitable. For throttle, I simply slide my finger up and down. So full to the top is full power. Doesn't it look great? Very clever technology, this. And then obviously angling the phone left and right does that. But there are other control methods on here where you can use your finger left and right. Actually, that might be easier. So let's have a look at the other method, which is one finger. There we go. Now I can do my finger left and right to control that, which actually maybe that's easier. And also slide my finger up and down for the throttle. Incredible that there's just no weight in this at all, and yet the power of that flapping is really impressive. So anyway, let's give this a try. So full throttle and just basically face it into wind. Now the wind is a little bit random at the moment, but let's see how we get on. So here we go, full throttle, and up it goes. Oh. So I'm doing my best to keep it towards me at the moment. And we're gaining altitude, which is good. It does look very realistic. Now, if I let go of the throttle, it will glide, and then I can throttle back up again. Oh no, I don't want to get stuck in a tree. Oh, that was close. Now, it is very much trial and error with this. And the more times you fly it, the more you're going to get familiar with it, of the feel of it and how it works. But you really do need a still day for it, because if you can see from today, did I just tread in some dog poo? No, it's a leaf. Okay. As you can see from today, it wants to go there in that direction, and that's because that's where the wind is heading. So if you are going to fly this, really do it indoors in a sports hall. That would be brilliant, or just choose a really still day. But the wind is dropping a little bit, so let's try this again. The other thing I would suggest as well is don't hold your finger left or right. Just give it a blip. So if it starts to turn to the left, give it a blip to the right. Don't hold it to the right because it will just do circles. Okay, so here we go again. Full throttle. It's quite exciting, this. And off he goes. So as I say, blip to the right, there we go, and to the left. And turns to the left and goes. The problem is the wind wants to carry it. But it does look great up there. I don't want to get stuck in those trees, so I'm going to let it land again. Now, the flight time on this is over 10 minutes with the tiny, tiny little battery in there. But I would say a lot of that 10 minutes is going to be spent, I think, on short flights, unless you do have perfect flying conditions. So just to give a demonstration of the difference the tail makes, if I put that down now, oh, I'm a bit scared. Throttle up to full. So you see that it doesn't gain altitude as much, but it's much quicker. And it's cutting through the wind a bit better now, and I'm able to keep it doing pretty much what I want it to do, actually. So if I let go, it will glide, and then we can throttle up again, and off it goes. So, as I say, you need to get to know your bird. One man and his bird. The more you understand how it reacts to what you're doing on the app, the better control you'll have of it. Now, there is also some other control methods on here. I'm not going to explore all of those. In the app, we've also got battery top right. We've got signal, Bluetooth signal in the middle at the top. No range issues in the slightest right now. Okay, the wind's dropped a bit. I think I actually prefer it with the tail down. The speed is quite nice. So try again, full throttle. Okay, now I think because the tail is down, the tail acts as an elevator. So with the tail right down like that, it may struggle to gain altitude as the battery starts to run out. So I'm going to put the tail up one click and try again. Here we go. You see it immediately gains more altitude. It is great though, and it looks brilliant in the sky. And from a distance, I think people watching are going to probably wonder if you've actually brought your pet bird out to the park. I've probably flown this about 5 times now, in terms of probably a total of no more than a couple of minutes flight, really. But in that time, I have been able to get used far more to the way in which it flies, and I'm able to keep it in the area now. But this is not something that you can just fly immediately. Nearly hit myself in the head with it. You do need to learn how to fly it, but you know what? In some respects, that's a refreshing change, because I'm so used to flying RC aircraft that don't challenge me, that don't really test me. So if you've got the mentality like I have of your typical radio control helicopter, glider, wing, plane pilot, then something like this actually does challenge you, and it actually does make you really have to work and fight initially to learn its characteristics and to learn how it flies. Anyway, really good fun. Thank you very much to the guys for sending this to me. The Bionic Bird is, as I say, the existing generation. They actually have a new product on its way. So I'm quite excited to see more and hear more about that. I'm hoping they build a little FPV camera into the front of it. Wouldn't that be great? Anyway, comment below with your thoughts, give the video a thumbs up, and thank you very much for watching. Come fly with me, let's fly away. Oh, okay, into the ground.